Nerd Rage Renegades.
Hey everyone, welcome to Renegade Reviews. These are your reviews for the week of May 2nd. These are going to be your books that are going to be out on May 2nd.
Yes, indeed.
That you'll be able to hit.
Or today, as this airs.
Today, as this airs. They were out yesterday, since this is a Thursday that the show
Oh,
airs.
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Got the wrong
yesterday.
day.
These are the books that were out yesterday. We're giving you our takes on them.
We're from the past. We're talking about the future right now.
Exactly. It's so interesting. We got two publishers that we're doing right now. More publishers will be added later on. These publishers are gracious enough to give us the review copies of these books beforehand, so we can review them for you all. So we want to thank you if you're listening to this. This is the sister show to the main Nerd Rage Renegades podcast. If you haven't, go check out this week's episode. Really good. We talked some GTA roleplay. My thoughts on the Tokyo Ghoul live-action film, the greatest Royal Rumble from WWE, upcoming games such as Spider-Man. We also talk some God of War. And, of course, we do some chit-chat about comics.
Yeah, and we swear a lot in that show. We're not going to in this show because this is like for family education purposes.
Yeah. This is, as Stone Cold Steve Austin would say, this is the family-friendly version, you know.
So the other show is mature audience only. So
yeah. Uncensored.
Young ears probably shouldn't hear the main show.
But we want to thank you for joining us on this show. So we're going to start off with the newest publisher that we're getting, and that is Boom. We're getting books from Boom Comics, an independent, one of those indie comic publishers, but honestly putting out some really, really good books. Boom puts out some really good stuff.
I actually to talk about last week. We didn't get to do reviews last week. I read a couple last week that I thought were really good. That I thought people should pay attention to it. I think the Big Trouble in Little China Old Man Jack series. Mm-hmm. Right now, I read I think it was I can't remember which issue it was in that series, but I read the old Big Trouble in Little China Big Trouble in Little China series they put out before. John Carpenter's actually writing it, I believe. And this Old Man Jack series is really funny and good. And he's like working with David Lopan and Egg from the movie, and it's just like all the characters you remember from them. And it's really funny because it's kind of reminds me of Old Man Logan a little bit,
right? But
it's Old Man Jack Burton basically, and it's pretty funny stuff. And man, I'm telling you, the Jim Henson, it's the Power of the Dark Crystal series that they're doing. That I read that hardcover volume 2, and God, that's a really beautifully drawn and written story. I think it's pretty amazing.
They've got some good stuff. I mean, Boom has done some good stuff over the years. One of the things they're doing right now, which is the books I'm following up on this week. Last week, we weren't able to do the reviews. There was just so much stuff going on last week. Chief had he didn't have power for a few days. So we weren't able to get the reviews done. But I had read Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This week I've been reading Go-Go Power Rangers because it seems like these books, both are going to second printings. And that's a good sign for any book, is that they're getting a second printing. It means people are selling out these books. And they're doing there's a storyline right now going on in the books. It's called Shattered Grid. And basically, this alternate version of Tommy Oliver, who goes by Lord Draken, is causing mayhem throughout through different timelines and different sections of Power Rangers. And the main Power Rangers, of course, are the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. These are the ones that, if you're old as dirt like me, you remember the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But there was also like this Power Rangers Samurai was in.
I can't find that movie anywhere, by the way. The '95 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. I've been trying to find that to watch. I can't find it anywhere.
I have it. I found it on like a DVD somewhere. And these books are really interesting. With the Shattered Grid, especially Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, there was a death in the issue from last week. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. And the way this kind of looks to me is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Chief is like the main book, right? And Go-Go Power Rangers is like its sister book. So kind of like in a way, when Archie has Sonic, you would have Sonic the Hedgehog, which was the main title, but then you would have Sonic Universe, which were usually stories that were still in the main universe, but kind of like side stories. Okay? So you had the main book, and then you have the side stories that are still...
So like many Batman spin-offs titles that
kind
take
of.
place in
Yeah. So Go-Go Power Rangers still is under the Shattered Grid arc, but they're telling different tales. Written by... Go-Go Power Rangers, of course, written by Ryan Parrott, artist Dan Mora.
Yeah, well, kind of like Tales of the Dark Knight kind of took place in modern day stories and stuff, but it was its own little condensed stories and stuff.
Yeah. So this one, the Rangers are dealing with the fallout from Rita Repulsa's sinister plan, and I have to say I love how Dan Mora draws Rita Repulsa, because she is evil, but she still has like this beauty to her. You know, it's not like the TV show where it was kind of like, she was really wicked looking, like an old witch. This one, she's very elegant looking, but she's still evil, and the characters are drawn so well. I love how the characters are drawn because it's like these little nuances in the characters, in the artwork for the characters. Like Kimberly, you remember, the Power Rangers usually, if you're the Red Ranger, he's always wearing red. The Black Ranger's always wearing black, yada yada yada, so on and so forth. What I really like about this is like the Pink Ranger Kimberly has like pink streaks in her hair. Trini has like these two patches of yellow like highlighted hair. It's like little nuances like that I like seeing brought into this world. And then it's dealing with alternate universes and timelines and future. So like Go-Go Power Rangers actually takes place, from what I'm reading. And like I said, I'm new to this. I'm new to the stories in this. I'm new to the stories now that we're getting these with the reviews. Go-Go Power Rangers actually looks like it takes place before, or at least in this story, before like the Green Ranger shows up. So it's like the very beginning of like the Power Rangers. Billy thinks he's not good enough for the team and all this other stuff very early on. Whereas the main Power Rangers book is they're more established as the Rangers. They've been the Rangers for a few years.
Yeah.
But really well written. There's some good action in it. There's the way the Megazords are drawn and the Dinozords are drawn are fantastic. I love the character models for all the characters, because they didn't take the characters and make them look like their TV counterparts.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. These characters, while it's the same name, they're drawn how Dan Mora drew them. They're not. He didn't look at the Amy Jo Johnson and said, I have to make the Pink Ranger look like Amy Jo Johnson.
I don't think there's any need for that with Power Rangers. There's so many incarnations of Power Rangers,
right.
You can kind of make them anything you want.
Keep the names, because the names are important, but change the faces to protect the innocent. So really, really good. Shattered Grid, it's a big thing. It's like I said, it's selling out. With Shattered Grid, I know the first part of Shattered Grid actually came in a bag. It was actually in kind of like Death of Superman, came in a bag and all that.
Yeah.
Came in a bag with the Power Rangers like lightning bolts on it. So really, really, so far I'm enjoying the Shattered Grid from Power Rangers. I'm actually enjoying it, and that's it's fun. I think that's the big thing, is I'm having fun reading the Power Rangers books.
Yeah. Well, that's what Boom's got some titles that they kind of remind, in a weird way. I don't know if it makes any sense to you, but they kind of remind me of Image books, something Image would put out.
Yeah.
That's something I wouldn't expect from Boom. Like this one that I read, Coda, this new series. It's a 12 issue. I guess it's going to be 12 issues, but
who's doing that one?
Simon Spurrier.
Okay.
And Matthias Bergera is on art.
I did take a look at the art. The art looked really interesting.
The art it's amazing, and it's a really good one. I would probably say this is my pick of the week this week, even after having and the DC stuff was good too, but this was really good. And what I like about it, is it's set in the world of, it's a fantasy world of like magic and elves and things like that. But it's after an apocalypse in that world that got rid of all the magic is dying and going away. So it's, in a way, it's kind of like if like Sauron had won in like the aftermath of like a Dark Lord has defeated this fantasy world and killed all the elves, and there's hardly any magic. So there's still a lot of weird creatures and things wandering around. And the guy is the main character is he was a bard in the early world when it was full of magic and fantasy and castles and all that. He was like a bard, and his wife got somehow taken by these things they call they're like orcs, but I can't remember the exact name of the creatures, but they're kind of like orcs. But they've stolen his wife, and I don't know if they've killed her or they just have her soul like trapped or something. But he's trying to free her from these creatures or whatever, and the description in this says it's to save her soul. But I didn't quite get that she was dead when I was reading it. But it's kind of funny. And the guy's name is Hum, and they call him that just because when they say something to him, he just goes, hmm. So they just call him that. That's his name. Yeah, he's kind of like Phil Ding. But it's pretty cool. And he has to have, he knows this like mer creature, like mermaid thing that lives in a bathtub with all these like orc guards around it. And I don't know if it's I shouldn't say orc because there's some kind of copyright. That's just what they look like to me. I can't remember the exact name they give them in the story, but she's gonna make this thing that supposedly can free this guy's wife out of magic, but he needs magic, so he goes and he joins these paladins, and everybody kind of laughs at these paladins because they're still wearing their like chivalrous, like shiny armor and stuff in this wasteland apocalypse world. And so he joins these guys from this town because they say they need iron to make these giant cannonballs that keep this giant. So there's a lot of shit going. It's kind of hard to explain. But so he joins up and gets magic, and you come to find out. Spoiler: this is the end of the book. The spoiler: this mayor of this town that he's joined this group of paladins. The mayor has one surviving elf left after this apocalypse, and that's where she's getting her magic for these giant killer cannonballs. So it's getting involved. He needs to steal the magic from this town, but he's had to sign up with this group. It's pretty cool, man. The artwork is just amazing, man. This Matthias Bergara, I guess he's done Supergirl before too, but man, his artwork is pretty amazing.
I saw at like the beginning, it was like is going like this like carcass of like this dead creature.
Yeah, it's a dead dragon. It's a dragon, but it's like living. It's the guy that he runs into. So I don't know if that's some sort of after hell for him to lay there and rot and still be conscious. But yeah, it's dragon bones, but it still talks. And it's talking about rats being in his belly and stuff. It's really well written. It's a really cool book.
Yeah, so it really looked. It was like I was looking at the art. And I don't know if this makes sense, but I was kind of seeing like artwork that it almost reminded me of a cross between like Bakshi and you remember the old movie? It was like the thief and the cobbler.
Yeah, it kind of is like that. And
yeah, that's what it kind of reminded. Like
I think a lot of the credit of that goes. The colorist on this is Michael Doig. I don't know, Doig. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but he's the colorist, and I think a lot of the credit goes to him for the look of it, the colors that they used, because man, the backgrounds, everything is just beautiful, and it really looks like a cool. It looks a lot like a Bakshi fantasy world, like the backgrounds and stuff. I love it.
Yeah, like it reminded me of like wizards mixed with the princess and the thief and the cobbler.
Yeah, and I think I would say even the cover is kind of reminiscent of wizards with the guy on the back of the creature.
Yeah.
Like sitting on the horse, like that's a mutant unicorn that he rides in this, by the way, and it's got fangs. It's this really hardcore war beast that he rides around. But I would have to say I highly recommend it. If you're in fantasy and like weird fantasy, if you like Bakshi movies, for sure, Dark Crystal type stuff, this would definitely, you'd probably dig this. And it's kind of cynical too, because it's kind of like the heroes didn't make it. What I kind of like about it? It's like in the aftermath of a fantasy world, like if the Dark Lord that was threatening everyone had actually won, and it actually made his dark world come true. Like this is like the aftermath though, that people just pick up their lives and just keep living. But it's pretty. That's what I like about it. That was the original twist I thought on it, was that it's like this is in a world like that Sauron had won in Lord of the Rings. And it's pretty. It's humorous and it's weird and kind of dark too. And I really dig it, man.
See, Boom's got some. Boom has some good stuff out there. Boom also does like your regular show, your Adventure Time.
Yes, that's kind of what because I've read all that stuff too before, and I really like them. I think their comic versions are
better sometimes
really
than the animated version.
Yeah, sometimes better, and then at least just as funny as the cartoons. Like I read the Adventure Time book from last week too, and that was really some really funny stuff. And they like introduced new characters into that world, and they've kind of fleshed out the world and the kingdoms in the comic books more than they did on the cartoon.
Yeah. Was that it for you from Boom?
I actually read Giant Days number 38 too, but
okay.
It's kind of like this like, coming of age at college kind of thing, which I didn't have that experience really when I went to school, so it's not like it does. I don't really relate to it, but I mean it's kind of funny, but I mean I think it's more for like college age people that are experiencing this life right now.
Right.
It's kind of like the RA or whatever at a dorm at a college and kind of her friends and what goes on at this college. And I mean, it was kind of funny, but it's not really a book that I would read. But I mean, definitely younger people would probably dig it more than me.
It's more that there is like, if you're in that age demographic,
yeah, it's pretty specific.
Resonate with you more than like someone like us who we're older in life.
I think there's a pretty specific target audience for this book, but I mean, it's well done. I think the art was well done, and I thought the story was. There's some few funny moments that I got out of it, even though it's not really. I don't really relate to anything in it, but I mean it's pretty good. I can't like bag on it or anything.
Right. So moving on to DC for this week, quite a few DC books that we have read. Let's start off with the one that we both read, and then we can move into the ones that we each read individually.
Yeah.
So I think the one that we both read, of course, is Batman.
Yeah, of course. Never miss Batman. And holy shnikes, is it dark?
This one, very dark.
Last time was dark. Oh, man. It's crazy. Booster Gold is cracking up, and he's just getting things even worse than they were. A crazy Catwoman, murderous Catwoman.
So this is the second part of the Gift arc from Batman, with Tom King on doing the writing, Tony S. Daniel on art, Sandu Floria inking. Really, really interesting. So the first part, if you remember, we actually reviewed that in the first episode of Renegade Reviews.
Yeah.
Booster Gold had gone back in time, saved Bruce Wayne's parents from death, as he thought that would be the best wedding gift for Bruce, and he ends up screwing up the whole timeline. So now it is, at the end of that book, Bruce Wayne destroyed Booster Gold's companion who allowed him to time travel. So Booster Gold is stuck in this alternate timeline.
Yeah.
He can't time travel. And it actually takes place 1 year after the last book. So it's been a year since the end of the last book.
Booster Gold's got a beard now, and he's cracking. He's cracking up. Like he thinks that everything he's doing is right, and he's just kind of maniacally giggling along. Like he's kind of lost it in this.
It almost seems like in that year he's tried other things.
Yeah, it's almost like Groundhog Day. It seems kind of like he's trying to reverse what he's done, and he just can't do it.
So he finally decides that he's had it all wrong. What he needs to happen is he needs to put Catwoman and Bruce Wayne in the same room, and Bruce will remember that he loves her, and that'll fix the timeline, and everything will go back to normal. But this, just like this is an alternate timeline Bruce Wayne, there's an alternate timeline Batman, which is Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
This is an alternate timeline Catwoman, who this in the entire book only says one thing the whole book, meow.
Yeah, and one of the funnier moments is Crazy Booster Gold sewing her a suit, and it turns out it's the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman suit.
Yeah, that was so good, and I kind of liked it that when you see Selina in this story, she is very cat-like. Like when she's laying on the bed, she's watching him intently. You know, she is very cat-like. She's not just a cat burglar. She's actually more feline in the way that they've presented her.
Yeah, she's kind of psychotic because she doesn't speak, and she immediately. Well, I mean, she's obviously intelligent enough to go with Booster Gold to get close.
Yeah.
To get where she wants to be.
There was a moment there, though, in this book where Booster Gold is with her after he makes the suit. Because he's flying with her.
Yeah.
It almost, to me, at that point, I thought it was going to go in a different direction. I thought it was going to go in a direction where Catwoman actually falls for Booster Gold.
Yeah,
that's what that kind of looked like to me.
It seems like it implies that, but then when they get to Wayne Manor, Alfred immediately goes down.
Yeah, let's just say all hell breaks loose. I don't want to ruin it too much. Let's just say hell breaks loose.
And it just turns into a big mess at the end. There's obviously a lot more to this story to straighten it out because everything is in shambles at the end of this book.
I mean, you get more in depth of this world's Bruce Wayne, of course, and Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne, and you do kind of see a little bit about how ruthless the Waynes are.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had that book, Batman White Knight, just recently, where you find out Thomas Wayne was a real psycho that tortured people at Arkham and stuff.
Or was that Sins of the Father?
Was that? That might have been Sins of the Father. White Knight's the one where the Joker gets out and blames Batman for.
Sins of the Father is the one where it was like the Telltale series one. Yeah, Sins of the Father.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right.
But Tony S. Daniel, and I'll tell you this, I like Tony S. Daniel art. He's done a lot for Supergirl. He has this really good way of drawing the characters. And I especially first of all, I like the way he has Booster Gold in here with the beard. I like the way he drew him with the beard. He's less pretty boy. He's more, like I said, he's more rugged in this issue.
Well, he's at the end of it, he's pretty much lost his mind at this point. And Tom King is I don't know. I just love Tom King's Batman, man. It's like it catches me off guard. Like some stories, you kind of know where they're gonna go. You kind of have a feeling, but man, Tom King is just surprising stuff goes out of this Batman. You don't expect it. I did not expect what happens at the end of this book to have happened. I didn't expect the last issue to open with Green Lantern blowing his brains out in the middle of the sky.
Yeah,
that was a trip.
Really, the way they've been writing this, you really do kind of wonder, how is the timeline going to be fixed? How is this timeline going to be fixed? Because the end of this issue, and once you pick it up, you'll understand what we're talking about. It almost seems like there is no way back.
Yeah, it seems that, well, I mean, multiverse. I mean, DC's got that. There's always a way out with multiverse, but I mean, it's just, how are they going to do it and make it good? That's the problem. It's like
that's the problem.
This is a pretty significant. This is a pretty significant storyline because it's how many times have Thomas and Martha Wayne been alive and grown, and you see the Bruce that's grown for. I don't think has there ever been a story where we've seen Bruce grown with his parents, like what he would be like if he'd never become Batman. I don't know how many stories there are like that.
I think there's only been a few, but he's not
like this though. I mean, you don't see what a snotty pretty boy he became, and really he's not really. Yeah. He's definitely not the Bruce Wayne that becomes Batman.
Right.
So he's this privileged.
It really is in a way that you look at it that his parent, if he was raised by his parents, which is what we're seeing now, he's a snotty pretty boy who uses his family's name to get what he wants.
Yeah, and he also is very like obsessed with his father and what his father does. He wants to be like his dad more than anything, and his dad's kind of a lousy jerk.
Yeah. And then, but then when you see, regular Bruce Wayne, his parents died, which led to his wanting that to never happen to anybody else, but also being raised by Alfred.
Yeah, Alfred's parental style was definitely more down to earth.
Yeah. So it really is. It's really fun to read. So it's going to be interesting to see in the next issue how they get out of this. How they. I think this might only be 3 issues long. This arc.
Yeah.
But that is Batman number 46. So we're getting close because the wedding's coming. The wedding is coming.
Yeah. Oh, and there's actually in the other book that I read this week, SnagglePuss Chronicles number 5. This is. Sad to say, Huckleberry Hound commits suicide.
Oh man!
I'm not kidding. But this is where Snagglepuss goes before committee, and he's supposed to give names of subversive artists and things like that. Right. But and they're gonna nail him to the wall if he doesn't do it. And there's some references to like. The nuclear race with Russia and how this is the reason they need to show the united America against subversives and all this stuff. So they want Snagglepuss and they bust Huckleberry Hound in some immoral sting or something, and he's all over the papers. Huckleberry Hound eventually they're going to drag Huckleberry Hound in front of this committee if Snagglepuss doesn't go talk, and then Huckleberry Hound ends up committing suicide. So Snagglepuss goes to talk on his behalf and to speak against this committee that they're trying to pretty much just out people and ruin their lives, and so they want Snagglepuss to name names and stuff. So he goes before the committee, and then he gives them all a stern talking to, without ruining it too much. And then we'll see where this leads for Snagglepuss at the end. This has also got Sasquatch Detective, and I'm waiting for the page to load. I don't know why it always takes forever when I'm doing this, but
Snagglepuss, of course, Mark Russell writing it. Mark Russell writing it. Mike Feehan doing the pencils. If you haven't been following this series, just a little background. Basically, this is the MacArthur trials, but with Hanna-Barbera characters.
Yeah, the next month is the final episode of this, I guess. It says next month, the final chapter here at the end. So.
But this is the MacArthur trials. This is those. If you're too young to know what the MacArthur trials were, they were trials that MacArthur did. No, the McCarthy trials. McCarthy. I was thinking Chester MacArthur. The McCarthy trials, where a lot of people in Hollywood were accused of having connections to communism, and at that point in American history, communism was a very bad thing. You did not want to be labeled a communist. You didn't want to be thought of being a Russian spy. So a lot of actors were brought up on charges to go before this committee run by McCarthy to testify that they were or were not communist sympathizers or spies. And a lot of times they would pinpoint other actors in Hollywood. They say, no, this guy's a communist, to get the heat off of them.
And then they kind of wanted Snagglepuss to do this, but he after he finds out that Huckleberry Hound's committed suicide, of course he refuses to. But this is it's kind of all, and then Snagglepuss is of course he's leading a double life at this point in history because he's a gay lion.
Yep.
And he's married, and so he finally decides to be himself, I guess, at the end of this, and he sends a petition for divorce to his wife at the end of this, and then his play happens without him there because he has to testify from this group. But at the end of it, he speaks his mind to this committee, and then says whatever the consequences. So next month we'll get to see what happens at the end of all this. But the second part of this, Sasquatch Detective.
Who's doing those ones? Is it the same team, or
it's created and written by Brandy Stillwell, art by Gus Vasquez.
Okay.
And lettering Dave Sharp, color Ross Campbell. this actually has a Batman wedding reference in this story, which is what I thought was kind of interesting. Kind of tied in with the Batman wedding thing going on. But basically, this one, and I actually like this now because it's starting to get into more of a flow of a story, like a little adventures rather than like the first issue. I believe the first part of this was where they were just like, "Hey, remember when we did this?" And it was like these flashback. Little blurbs of what her and her partner done, kind of get to know the characters kind of issues. This one is like the first one I think that is actually like a full. Well, I guess they had the one where she solved all the cases in one day, but this one is like a full they're doing a sting on a massage spa thing, and because people are getting robbed from this place or whatever. But so they a Sasquatch detective goes undercover as a woman in the spa. And can't walk in heels or anything, so she goes in to get a pedicure, and Selena Kyle is actually in the beauty salon, and she says that they're giving her a pedicure, and the woman says, "I'm almost done, Miss Selena," and she says, "Thank you, I have a big day coming up." Bam, Batman wedding reference right there.
Yep.
And so then she goes and gets the pedicure and everything. And she comes to find out anyway. Long story short, it's the spa has some sort of there's like a gas that they emit that makes people give up their codes and their website passwords and stuff. So the spa's been robbing people. So they bust the spa. And let's see, I'm trying to get to this. It's basically she catches the crooks, and then there's a lot of jokes about how bad Bigfoot smells in a salon. But no, I actually kind of dig it. I kind of like the artwork, and I kind of like because they don't have much. With being like a second story to the SnagglePuss story. It's like they don't have a whole lot of room left to really dig into a full arc of something. So they're just kind of doing these like little one-shot stories, and they're actually pretty funny and good. I mean, I think this character, there could be a lot more done with it, but it's actually a pretty funny character and a pretty funny premise that this Bigfoot goes through society like thinking she can like disguise herself as a regular person. Like, and everybody knows it's obviously the Sasquatch that's on the police force. She's not fooling anybody with this disguise, which is kind of funny. Like that kind of premise, like her obliviousness is kind of funny. So I will continue to read it. I kind of wish it would get its own book, at least like a mini series, like maybe a 6-issue, just so they could develop this character and kind of show the origin and where she came from and show a little bit more. Because like they're just not giving the character enough room in this book to expand. But I do like it. I do, and SnagglePuss got me hooked now. So now I remember thinking when we first got these, like, how weird. It's like, that is such a weird idea. Like, why are they putting Hanna-Barbera characters in real historical situations? It's just a bizarre thing to me. But damn it if I'm not hooked on it. Now I got to read all of it.
Right. I checked out Harley Loves Joker this week. Now this is interesting. This is a 2-issue miniseries, written by Paul Dini and art by Brett Blevins. And this takes place. It looks like it takes place. The way it's drawn, it's the Batman animated series characters. So the Harley and the Joker and Penguin and everything in this is the animated series characters. So there has been a new crook on the loose who's been stealing from all these different places, and Harley and Joker want to stop her. And they work with Penguin, who has this brand new, very expensive peacock statue to use as bait. So Harley and Joker are laying bait to catch this crook because they're kind of pissed off that this crook keeps robbing all the places they want to rob. So it actually deals a lot with a new character called the Greason and her connections to Harley back when Harley was actually in college. It's really interesting because this new character has ties to Harley. She also has ties to Dr. Kurt Langstrom and his work with splicing animals and human DNA. We get a little bit of Harley in college, that Harley went to college on a gymnastics scholarship.
Yeah.
And through that and doing these internships with the animals, she's able to pay for her medical degree to become a doctor.
That's some backstory you haven't heard very often.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never known why she has like animal powers or whatever. Like, that's something I didn't know. How does she?
Well,
apparently she worked with animals at some point.
Well, Harley worked with animals, but she doesn't have animal powers. But they do show how she got Bud and Lou.
Well, she gets like not powers necessarily, but she has a way with like taming animals for some reason.
And they do show Bud and Lou as cubs in this story, and she had worked with them when they were cubs, when they were hyena cubs. So you get this really cool backstory on Harley, how she connects with this Greason character, who's a new female villain. A little bit more with her interaction with the Joker, written by Paul Dini. So of course it's got that distinct Paul Dini feel, like like some episodes of the animated series does, and the art looks like the animated series.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's definitely based on the look of the animated series.
And I've always loved the animated series look of Harley. I think
I love the whole look of that show. I didn't think it needed all the it's definitely not like something like like Red Hood or something, like how detailed that animation is. But for a TV show, that was just pure Batman. Like I loved how minimalist it was and how dark and shadowy the backgrounds looked. It really lit to the atmosphere of that cartoon.
Yeah. I love the characters. I love the voice actors they got for the different characters.
Oh, that's the best. I still say Kevin Conroy is number one Batman, followed by everyone else.
Well, I'll tell you, that show, I really loved Roddy McDowall as the Mad Hatter.
That and you had Hamill as the Joker too, the whole series.
But,
not the whole. He wasn't the Joker in some of it, was he? Didn't he come on? Didn't he leave for him? He was he in every episode? I thought there was some that he wasn't the Joker.
I don't know. But it's a 2-issue miniseries. Highly, check it out. It's a fun little read. It's not a big, masterful, like opus. It's just a fun little self-contained story for Harley and Joker, and it's really good.
Yeah, I mean there's room for stories like this. I mean, it looks like there's quite a bit of action in it. It doesn't look boring or anything. Yeah. I'm just checking it out right now. There's a couple of big fights in here. Harley and this creature that's fighting.
Yeah. Now, the last one I read, this week we get DC Nation number 0. Now, this is 3 stories that kind of shows off the big events of the summer. You get something with Superman, you get something with for the Batman wedding, and Justice League. So 3 stories in this. You get 3 different variant covers of this. You get one with Superman, one with Joker, Batman, and Catwoman.
Oh man, I love that
really
one.
Good.
I love
that one's good.
That one's really good.
And then you get one with the Wonder Woman team. The Wonder Woman team and Harley, because she's on a different team, I think, with the Justice League. But Tom King wrote the script for the Joker story called Your Big Day with Clayman as art. And this whole story is the Joker has...
Wow, that's some good art on that too, man.
Yeah, the Joker has infiltrated this man's home and is holding him hostage, waiting for the mail, because he says the invitation to Batman's wedding is coming. And this guy keeps saying, I don't know Batman, why would the invitation come to me? And he keeps saying, you're going to kill me, aren't you? And the Joker keeps going, no, I only kill people when I'm angry, and all this other stuff. And it goes through Joker wanting this invitation to the wedding, saying he can't have this wedding without me, and also saying, what should I get them for the wedding? What type of gifts should I buy them? And really, this kind of shows a lot of Joker's insanity.
I love the way they draw the Joker in this, though, man. He looks just wicked crazy.
Yeah. And a really good short story for this. I mean, definitely, it's going to be continued in Batman number 48. You definitely need to. I would highly recommend picking up this up because this will tell you what. This shows some really deep psychotic things with the Joker. The second story, Office Space, is actually it's a Bendis. Bendis wrote the script with Jose Luis Garcia Lopez on the pencils. So you're getting your first look at what the Man of Steel book is going to look like, Chief. The new Batman.
Yeah, it looks old school, man. Looking at the artwork and everything, it looks like an old school, like mid to late '80s Superman story almost.
Yeah. So Superman, in this one,
got the red on too. Got the red underwear. Looks like Superman.
He's got the red on. In this one, Perry White is telling the staff they need juicier stories, they need to be ahead of everything, and now that Lois Lane is no longer working at the Planet, they need to step up. And, of course, Clark Kent comes in, and Perry says you can have Lois's old office. Clark will not take the office. And he says he has a story for Perry, but Perry, questions about the story. But it also introduces a new character in this story, a Miss Robinson Good, who's a new character who's going to be writing there she's going to be the Life on the Street reporter, but she has ulterior motives. She has ulterior motives for being at the Planet. So that's going to be leading into Man of Steel. And then the third story you get, which is Snyder, Tinian IV, and Joshua Williamson. This leads into the No Justice League. And it shows the different teams of the Justice League. And from what they say, Brainiac shows up on Earth asking the Justice League for help. Because at the end of Metal, when they broke through the barrier, it unleashed these creatures that have been dormant for centuries, and they scare Brainiac, and they're actually attacking Brainiac's planet.
Oh, these guys look like Celestials here at the end?
Yeah. So you get your first look at the new teams
I got
in this Justice
Beast
League.
Boy in there, got a little Beast Boy appearance.
So Batman is leading the Justice League team Entropy, which is Lobo, Deathstroke, Luthor, Batman, and Beast Boy. Superman is with Team Mystery, that's himself, Starfire, Martian Manhunter, Starro,
yes,
and Sinestro.
We got a huge poster for this at C2E2 and our stuff, and I've got to put it up somewhere, but it's really cool.
Wonder Woman is leading Team Wonder, that's herself, Zatanna, Dr. Fate, Raven, and Etrigan the Demon.
Starro is on the team for Justice League Team Mystery? Yep. That's crazy.
And then Team Wisdom is led by Cyborg, and he's got himself, the Atom, Flash, Damian, and Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that looks like some pretty awesome artwork there. Looks like it's pretty good.
The artwork done by Jorge Jimenez, and they also show on Earth that Green Arrow and Supergirl are on Earth as kind of like the defense, like two of the defense forces for Earth. We did get some stuff on that at C2E2, and I do believe we did get a poster.
Yeah, I got I thought we got the actual preview of the book, maybe. I'll have to look through my stuff here and see what I got.
We might have. We got quite a bit of stuff from them.
I got Krypton. Oh, yeah, I just got the poster here.
Yeah.
But that's a cool. That's a pretty cool giveaway. It's like a full size, like.
Oh yeah, that's going to be replacing. I'm going to take down the poster I have for Convergence, and I'm putting that one up.
Yeah, it's. I've got my Rebirth, my little comic shop, little tiny poster, but that's like a full size one you'd buy at the comic store.
Yeah. So. This definitely, DC Nation number 0, if you want to look at what's coming this summer from DC with their events, you definitely want to pick this up. This is a good jumping on point for you for these new stories that are coming out.
Meanwhile, we're waiting for Doomsday Clock to get wrapped up.
The Superman story, I thought it was okay. It'll be fleshed out more in in Man of Steel. I feel this was more of a just, hey, we're introducing this new person.
Yeah, there's some Superman books that are like that, where a lot of it takes place at the Daily Planet, and he's not Superman constantly, and it's some backstory and some lead up to something bigger that's going on. But I mean, that's just the way Superman goes. Like, you can't blame Bendis for that. I mean, that's just the way it is.
No, not at all. The Justice League, I thought a lot of action. It introduced us to these teams. They'll probably tell us how these teams were put together in the Justice League book. So it was really cool to see who we're going to be seeing in this title. But really, with DC Nation, the Joker story for me is the standout, because it ties into the current story arc with Batman. It ties into the wedding. It shows Joker's insanity. It also shows that, Batman can't have a happy day. The Joker has to be involved in some way, shape, or form in his happy days. And I'm not spoiling the ending of that story, but
I don't think there was any illusion. They didn't even try to hide it. I don't think there was anybody was under any illusion that the Joker wasn't going to be involved in this wedding arc somehow.
But the ending of that story really shows the Joker's how psychotic the Joker is. The end, Chief, you got like a day before DC takes those down to put up the.
I was just looking at it. It looks awesome.
You got to look at that, because the ending of that shows just how psychotic the Joker is with this whole thing. So definitely for me, DC Nation is my pick of the week, because it's setting things up. It is definitely setting things up for what's to come in DC. And if I had to pick a second one, I would pick Batman, just because I love the art in that, and I love Booster Gold's breaking point, and I love the way Catwoman was portrayed.
Yeah, everything I read this week was good. I picked Coda just because it was something new and different and fresh, and it's really cool and really well written, and the art is amazing. But I mean, Batman's just so good and dark and weird now. I mean, it's Tom King's definitely made it his own. He's taken it from Snyder. He was respectful of Snyder's work, but he's made it his own, and it's his own Batman now, and it's really good.
Definitely. So, that's your reviews for this week. Please go to the comic book store, pick up these books amidst the myriad of other books that are out there.
Pay your subs. Pay for your subs.
Pay for your subs. Don't forget the other publishers. Don't forget Marvel, Image, IDW. If you're into Archie. There's something for everybody. There is something for everybody at the comic book store.
My comic shop has a huge kids section now, just for kids, of kids stuff, and there is literally a title for every imagination out there. So,
and we want to remind you, this is Thursday. This Saturday is Free Comic Book Day.
That's right, May the 4th. No, so what is it? No, it's the first Saturday in May. I get confused with May the 4th be with you. Yeah, first Saturday in May.
Saturday in May, Free Comic Book Day. Go to your shop. Most shops, you go in there, they'll give you can get like 2 or 3 titles, you can't get one of everything, unless you're us. But you can go in there and you can get.
I usually take the wife with me, and we just grab one of everything usually. Or if there's one like my niece wants or something, I'll say, hey Mike, let me get another one of these, and he's like, yeah, who cares? Go ahead.
Mine is like, what do you want this week? I'm like, what do you want today? I'm like, I want that, I want this, I want the other thing. They're like, okay. But go out there. I know there's going to be there's Spider-Man books. There's going to be, I want to say, Captain America book.
There's always some pretty good mix, and it's worth to go. And if you got kids, especially, they put out a lot of good kids books these days at the Free Comic Book Day.
Stuff from Bongo, which is your Simpsons comics. I think SpongeBob is
Boom puts out some pretty good stuff at Free Comic Book Day too, if I remember right.
Tokyo Pop, who will have a story for Zero from Nightmare Before Christmas. But go there. Also, a lot of shops will do. I know mine. They usually have a sale that day as well.
Yeah.
So you can pick up back issues for 25-30% off. And some shops, I know my shop, if you have kids, take them in there because they'll be local artists, and they usually do free sketches for the kids.
Yeah, or they've had a couple guys signing when I've gone. So you never know what's going. I mean, it's free basically. But I always say I always buy something when I go.
Always pick up at least something to buy from the store.
Help out the shop. They're giving you a bunch of free books. You could buy one or two.
Yeah, I always will buy something when I'm in there, especially with the sale. I'll pick up an omnibus. If you're not into comics, and you want to, if you want to get into comics, and if your shop's doing like 40% off, 50% off all hardbacks, or trades or something like that, pick up an omnibus. Pick up some hardcovers. Read something, pick up something, especially, Black Panther came out this year, really huge. You can go pick up some old Black Panther things.
Well, yeah, they're like a trade is like six, 7 issues in one bundled thing, usually a whole arc. So, I mean, you could go in like, like Thrones of Atlantis was like 3 of those. But, I mean, if they're on sale, pick up a few.
Yeah, pick up a few. Like I said, Black Panther's out. Go pick up Christopher Priest's run on Black Panther.
Go get Infinity Gauntlet. I think that's compiled somewhere. Go along with your Infinity movie that's out right now, so you can kind of see where the stones come from and what it's all about. And I don't know if there's anything from Infinity Gauntlet in the movie, but it's got a lot of Thanos, a lot of Infinity stuff. It'll give you an idea what you're in for at the movie.
Pick up if you want to. You can pick up the trades definitely of the Hickman run of Avengers, because we know
or Fantastic Four. Recommend that highly.
Well, I was saying because we know the Black Order is in the Infinity War movie.
That's true. Yeah.
Hickman's run, you can read a lot about the Black Order in the Hickman's run. Corvus Glaive, the Ebony Maw, Proxima Midnight. Pick that up.
I think that a lot of Hickman's. I think they did use some of Hickman's story elements maybe in the movie, because Hickman's got. Well, they used the Black Council, but Hickman's got a credit on this movie, so. I'm not sure exactly what they used.
Yeah. But definitely go this Saturday, free comic book day, pick up some free books, buy something while you're there. And if there are local artists or local vendors, if you can spare them a couple bucks, pick up something they got, because this is what they do. There's the pixel art. People do that pixel art stuff.
Usually cosplayers out at these things, entertainment.
The stormtroopers will usually be at some of these if your area has a local chapter of the Legion. The stormtroopers will be there, but it's a fun time. Go pick those up. Pick up the books from this week. Don't forget, once again, your other publishers out there. There's something for everybody.
Dark Horse, which I don't know if we connected with Dark Horse.
We didn't really connect with Dark Horse. We'll have to do that next time.
They got some titles I like, but we'll see.
Yeah. If you got kids that love My Little Pony, they got My Little Pony books. IDW puts out the My Little Pony title. They got the new Sonic title, which is actually really, really good. Go pick that up. Walking Dead fans, quit watching just the show. Go pick up a freaking hardcover. Go pick up some trades. A trade for Walking Dead, just the trade is like $15 a pop.
Hey, and even some of the old back issues. Back issues those prices are coming down on some of those too, so you can go back and pick up some of the old single issues.
Go read the good story, and you'll see where the show fucked it up.
Yeah, well, that's my only point. I'm saying, look, they did not. They the Rhea at the show. No, they did not do it any favors. It would have been. I mean, I'm not saying that I would have been against if they had changed a little bit. Just like I said before, Frank Darabont changed the ending of The Mist from Stephen King's book, and it was better the way Darabont did it. I think Darabont would have done this justice, but they screwed him over on AMC. So, they just screwed the pooch on The Walking Dead. And what they did was for shock value, and it didn't prove a damn thing on that show. So, I mean, they could have done something different. I'm not saying they couldn't kill a character, just not Carl. You don't kill the main character.
Yeah. So, if you want to follow us, it's Space Chief at Space Chief 75.
Yes,
me
indeed.
At the NRD RG Renegades, Nerd Rage Renegades on the Twitter. This show, once again, every week on Podbean, Stitcher, Player FM, Google Play, iTunes, YouTube. That's where you can find these reviews every single week. We'll be back next week with some more Boom, DC, and whatever comics we get. So, until next time, Renegade Reviews, thank you so much for joining us.
Good night, everyone.
Nerd Rage Renegades.